First question is from Brune Vanderkrook. We have for Zim2. When I look at your stake in Zincgate, you have a very nice profit on your investment. Well done. Wouldn't it be wise to take a profit on part of your investment so you're less dependent on Zincgate and have better diversification in your investments? With the money, you could buy your own stock at a discount of about 80%.
All right. First of all, just to address the buying back our own stock, I'm not particularly a fan of that. Our overall plan is to continue growing the shareholder, the share base within Zim2, and specifically to focus on less companies with a larger interest and more support. Our cash position at the moment is it's not marvelous, but it's fine. We are launching 3 initiatives to do just what I said, and that's expand the number of companies that we are supporting and have a larger position. So to that effect, you'll see that we are supporting a new company called Zambezi, and we are in a pretty good position to do that. Our latest company, Core Assets, that we got to trade recently, again, we have a large position in that, and we intend to follow through with that. We're currently working on a new project with another group in town that we originally sold a rare earth niobium property to, and they were in the process of taking that public, and Zim2 is stepping in to help them out with that. Again, we'll end up with a new company with a large share position. And I think one of the things that the question is addressing is why our share position is worth more than our market cap. In the end, that is going to do extremely well for Zim2 shareholders.
Okay, great. Next question here, also from email, is does Zim2 ever realize profits from its stock investments directly via the stock exchange?
I believe what the gentleman is asking in kind of a polite way is, do we ever sell the stock we own? And our general policy on that is if the company is doing the right thing, spending their money in the right area, and continue to work with Zim2, we will hold their stock. Yes, of course, from time to time we do sell stock, particularly in companies that may not be following the work ethic that I believe you need to have.
Okay, great. So the next question here is again for Zim2. So what is Zim2 doing to bring its own share price closer to the value of its holdings?
Well, we work on that most every day. Certainly these Zoom meetings with question period like this one, and the Zoom meetings that we do with individual companies that are in our portfolio is part of what we're doing to market Zim2 stock. The whole digital approach to marketing our stock has been accelerated by the whole COVID situation, and as we get out of that COVID situation and the in-person ability to meet people comes back, there will still be a large role for these Zoom meetings because they provide greater access for the investor to the individual companies.
Okay, perfect. So the next question here is, does Zim2 have a dividend or dividend in kind possible until the end of 2023? Why not go this route? This would attract more investors. Simply pay something like 10% of your holdings to your shareholders, but not cash, but stock of these companies.
That's something that we have talked about from time to time. It's not really. It's not certainly not in our planning mode at the moment, I guess that's all I can say.
Okay, perfect. What are the investment opportunities offered by Zim2 for investors? How do shareholders who own your stock increase their wealth when investing with Zim2?
Well, first of all, the best way to invest in Zim2 is to buy the stock in the market. That certainly the breakup value of Zim2 is considerably higher than the trading price, and we eventually will get that turned around. One of the other interesting aspects about Zim2 is that it provides an opportunity for investors to invest in our Zim2 companies at a very early stage. At the moment, we have been talking a little bit about Zambezi. Zim2 will have a large share position, which will benefit all of our shareholders. But they are currently doing a seed round financing out of the Zim2 office. So for those that wanted to participate, you should get a hold of somebody in the Zim2 office, and they'll introduce you to the Zambezi guys. Likewise, the company that we're arranging to take public, Eagle Bay, is also a seed round opportunity. And that's certainly one of the other ways that you could profit from being involved with Zim2. In fact, any of the Zim2 companies, one of the things that you can be reassured about is that you'll always be able to contact Zim2 to find out what's going on. And certainly one of the more valuable things for any investor is information. And that's one of the promises that Zim2 makes, and we'll make sure that there's always somebody to explain why the stock of any of the individual companies has gone up tenfold, or sometimes the other way around. But we'll be at least here to answer the question.
Okay, and the second question here, same person. Zim2's homepage states that Zim2 Capital Vancouver is focused on the mineral exploration sector through prospect generation and company creation / building. Please explain. I've noticed that some of the companies in the core holdings are working to completely develop mines, while others are looking to maybe only focus on exploration, for example, core assets.
Well, I'll tell you a little story. When we first started to develop Zim2, we were creating companies on the Henry Ford assembly line system. And that was the plan. However, as soon as we started doing that and starting adding people to these companies, they all became very different. So each of the companies that we're involved with, we have a very different relationship and different responsibilities to them. What was the rest of the question?
Yeah, so I've noticed that some of the companies are looking to develop the mines, while others are just focused on exploration. Can you explain?
Well, in the life of a company, especially a mineral exploration company, the first phase is always exploration. And depending on the results of that exploration, they could either go on to further develop it, or they could, as somebody was asking about Seville, they could opt to take an offer from a major who's going to put that into production. The general rule of thumb is an exploration company takes the risk out of looking for new mines, which is great for the mining companies, and they're quite happy to pay 10 to 15% of the value of the ore that's in the ground, because that leaves them 85% of the value to get it out of the ground and to market. But we have companies in all that are all different. For example, Exmon is very much into turning themselves into a producer, whereas Commerce, with their extremely large and rich rare earth deposit, is probably going to end up going with some sort of partner. But, you know, that's not a foregone conclusion. And each of the companies, as Mike pointed out, will evaluate those opportunities as they come along. So that's why we have companies in all different stages of development and with different mandates.
And so the next question kind of flows into that one. And what I'll say is we have a recent blog post that talks about the different stages of a junior mining company. So you can see where the different stages of ZIM2's holdings are at if you go visit that blog post. But the third question here from this person is, from an investor standpoint, it would be very helpful to see the project timeline for each company's project. Is that available? It doesn't need to have firm dates on it, but they're looking to list the project steps from start to finish with an estimated lead time for each. This would give some investors ideas on the possible timeline for their ROI.
That is a question that I advise all of our companies to try and not answer, because projecting those kind of timelines are extremely difficult, and those timelines can get drastically changed by things like COVID or regulatory or changes in the market. The price of copper, the price of all of those things can affect that timeline. So that's a tough question to answer, and certainly sets the company up for not meeting those timelines. And so it's probably better off that they're not stated. Sorry about that.
That makes sense. Okay, so that's all we have here for questions. If anybody has any other questions for any of the companies, again, feel free to put it in the chat. But that's everything that we've got on email.